Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium. Thank you for joining me today. Today, we are going to tackle your spiritual questions. I do put out a call on my YouTube page for either political questions, typically, but this time we decided to switch it up a little bit and also ask for your spiritual questions. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask my guides, my spirit guides, the answers to the questions that you've asked. And as usual, you guys never disappoint. You gave us some great questions to ponder. So here we go. Alexander B. wants to know. Alexander says that they were wondering if the rapture from Revelations in the Bible is actually the splitting of old earth and new earth. And will there actually be an experience of people disappearing? And is this happening within the near future? Great question. I mean, I'm going to answer that, but I just want to say that Just Passing Through gave a reply to this that I thought was very good. Just Passing Through said, I feel the new/old earth is happening to me personally. It's more about energy. For example, I have no desire to see certain members of my family anymore. They didn't disappear physically. They are still in a physical body right here on earth. But for my own mental and emotional health, I just don't want to have them in my life. So in a sense, they have disappeared. But this is my own interpretation. Just Passing Through, I agree. And I want to talk about this for a minute because this is something that you guys, that we can all learn from. Truly, if you're interested in spiritual things, then this is going to be helpful for you. And that is understanding that when we get messages or we read the energy, it often presents in the energy or manifests within the energy in this physical plane a little different. Case in point, a lot of people are saying that this is Civil War energy, that the United States is experiencing a war-like energy, and perhaps even a civil war-like energy because our astrological planets are going to be very similar places for the first time, once again, since the Civil War. So we are sort of entering this energy of Civil War energy. So, but that it's not going to manifest like a civil war or like an actual war. We may experience war energy in the sense that you may have people mad at each other, you may have infighting, you might actually have violence, but the actual war of an army against another army, it's just not going to happen this time around. So that applies to what you're asking, Alexander. We are sort of experiencing a revelations. If you think about all the people that have died from COVID, if you think about the increased number of people that are dying right now tend to be older white men. Older white men tend to be dying faster than anybody else right now. So if you think about that in a sense that maybe, just maybe, if we were to do the demographics and really look at the graphs and the science, we might notice that on average, more Republicans are crossing over right now than Democrats. Maybe even more Republicans crossed over due to COVID than Democrats. Now, I'm not saying that Republicans are bad and Democrats are good. I'm not, that again is not the energy. You can't make it black and white. But what I would say is that let's take the R and D off of it, labels, and let's just say people that got vaccinations are living longer. People that wore masks are living longer. Those people did it not only for themselves, but also for their fellow humans. And because of that, they're living longer. So is it really the rapture, or is it natural selection? Is it Darwin? What is it exactly? Whatever it is, it seems like to match this higher vibration that we're going into helps you live longer. If you take care of yourself, you take care of the environment, you take care of your fellow human being, then It just seems like you're living longer in general. So that's one thing. But it's also true what just passing through is saying is that as your vibration goes up, these other people that don't match your vibration anymore, they just don't match your vibration. And they sort of fall away. And the same thing happens with friends. You sort of don't have anything in common with them anymore. You grow apart. It's the same thing with family. You may grow apart. You may find that you just don't need to be as connected to them as you were. And it doesn't mean that they're bad and you're good, or you're bad and they're good. And that's not at all how this works. It just means that your vibration has changed and it's no longer resonating with their vibration. But it is already happening, I think. So yes, this is already sort of happening. It's just kind of shaking everything apart. So let's see if we can come up with another question here. Alexander B goes on to say, they wonder if our energy rises to the point where they literally physically cannot see us anymore. Like obviously 5D and higher beings exist all around us that we can't physically see, but they can perceive us. We're not there. We're not there, Alexander. You're talking 5 to 8 generations away, and that's if we really focus on raising our vibration and we're open and allowing that. You're looking at least 5 generations and maybe as many as 10 generations away before people could but you know what, it exists. They're telling me this does exist, you guys. Maybe I can see an alien craft and I'm standing here and you're standing right next to me and you can't see it. That's already happening. I'm already able to see something that this person can't see. Also, they're showing me it's not what you think. It's not so literal or physical, but there are people that you don't even notice, right? I mean, don't you just walk right past people and you're like, oh my God, I didn't know he was there. I didn't know she was there. When did you get here? Well, I've been standing here all along. Well, how come I never saw you? Well, why is that? It's the same thing. It's the same resonance. You're not in that resonance, so you just went past them as if they weren't there. It's like you're not seeing them. It doesn't mean they're not physically there in your existence, but you are attuned to a different vibration. So hopefully that makes sense. That's a great question. Okay, so Alyssa has a question. In my Ra channeling, so I did a video where I channeled Ra, who was this sun dude. And he told me about Earth. He told me about climate change and some things that are going to be happening. You can watch that on my channel. The question is, in your Ra channeling, Ra discussed bubble cities. How many people are living in each bubble, and is manufacturing done outside the bubble? What I saw was a complete enclosed, climate-controlled city. Everything is completed inside the bubble. So how many people? It depends on the city. I mean, these things could hold 250,000 people. We would have to work our way up to millions of people, but they're showing me we're capable of building one that could hold 250,000. And is manufacturing done outside the bubble? Everything is done in the bubble. Remember, the reason they're in the bubble is because the outside atmosphere is not stable. It's not conducive to human being out there, particularly, for whatever the reason. And so everything has to be done in the bubble. I do see these bubble tunnels that connect other bubbles that are like highways, but they're also enclosed in a bubble. I mean, basically, this looks like a hamster land. Like, if you ever had a hamster as a child and you made the little bubble and then the little tunnel and then the hamster goes over here, basically, we're going to be living like hamsters. But the good news about this is that when we did this, nature took over and healed the environment, and the flora and fauna came back. Now, of course, this isn't going to happen in a year or 5 years, but it does allow the earth to heal itself because the humans are no longer, putting so much stress on it. Now, maybe not all humans are going to live in the bubble. Maybe it's going to be certain areas of the world or certain areas of the United States are going to have more bubbles than others because you've done a worse job at deforestation, or you in your country or your area, you've done a terrible job of pollution and deforestation. Maybe you're closer to the equator or further away from the equator, or maybe there's a lot of factors in this. Okay. I'm hung up on the part because I think somebody asked this in a different way or different comment, like, well, aren't we going to be emitting pollution? I mean, how does it help, right? We're living in this bubble, but we're throwing all of our pollution out of the bubble. But for some reason, we're not doing that. Now, we are emitting some like CO2 or some kind of gas they're talking about, but we're not emitting, pollutants. The technology that allows us to live in the bubble allows us to have sort of a circular environment where what we use is completely in a circle. You don't have so much trash. You have very little, if any, trash. You don't have any offshoot byproduct of anything that's really toxic. The process of living in the bubble has created a clean, kind of a circular environment. I would also suggest that you look into Saudi Arabia. I think it's Saudi Arabia. There's somebody who's building a glass city that's the longest city. It's in a line. It's like in a line like this. And it's glass, and it's in the desert. And the upper part of the glass building has trees, but everybody, and it's so long that it would take you like a week to walk it. And they're going to have flying vehicles transport you from one end to the other. So this is already starting to happen. It's not exactly what I see, but it's a very big step in that direction. Thank you so much. I hope I answered your question, Alyssa. Casual Observer says, when will we have open direct ET contact within the next 2 years or 5 years? Will it be the Pleiadians who make the first contact since they seem to look most like us? Gosh, I didn't know this question was here. Okay, I'm going to try to put this in the link in the description, but you guys have got to watch the Tucker Carlson interview. And yes, I did say Tucker Carlson on Fox News. I don't watch Fox News, but a friend sent me this. Tucker interviewed a Stanford scientist who is investigating some real physical harm that happened to humans when they interacted with aliens. Do you need to replay that video again? Stanford scientist is investigating physical harm that humans received because they interacted with aliens. And this is all public, and it's becoming more public. Okay, now, this Stanford scientist was fantastic. He was easy to listen to. He was articulate, but easy to listen to, and he was smart, and he was basically very open about everything. And so what happened was these humans that they're investigating saw, and most of these humans were in the service, either in the army or something. They were in the military, and they saw an alien ship. And in the cases that this man is talking about, they were like a little capsule. And the soldier saw it glowing and walked up to it and touched it. And when they touched it, They got irradiated. Of course they're going to get irradiated. We're human. That is whatever it is. It's not anything that we know anything about. So these soldiers, some died, but some they're still living. Some that are still living that they're investigating and experimenting on to see what happened to them. And this Stanford guy showed actual brain scans of one of these soldiers and how this soldier had brain damage. Okay, so this is all fine and good. You're thinking, oh my God, we're going to have, the big reveal. This is it. My first response was, oh my gosh, this is excellent. Fox News is open to aliens. This is amazing. This is going to help all the Trumpers get on board with aliens. Are okay. Aliens are here. This Stanford guy even talked about how powerful they were and how, in his view, aliens were if you want to have a visual, humans are like ants. We're like little ants that are going along, carrying our little thing to our little wherever, and aliens are humans. So aliens are huge, humans are ants. He said that on Fox News. Now, he didn't mean he was excited. He was inquisitive, a scientist. But he's saying these things, and then he says, well, I think that these aliens are so much more powerful than us. I think it really calls into question if our God is their God. And if our God is not their God, then our God might not be as powerful. Okay, you guys, every Fox News viewer in Fox land, their head just blew off their shoulders. That was it. So I went from my human Susan self saying, wow, this is great. And I was texting my friend back. And then in the middle of me texting, my guides got a hold of me and said, no, this is not good. Basically, this man was naive. And he went on Fox News and said a whole bunch of stuff that was alarming and scary, even if and true, because he's like, here's the scan. I'm a Stanford scientist. You can trust me. So he basically just proved that aliens are killing us and that their God's bigger than our God and all this other stuff. So what that really means is what I've always been afraid of, which is that, and I was really afraid of this during Trump presidency. I was afraid that we would have a false flag with an alien ship, like a fake alien ship. Trump created the Space Force, right? So I see a false alien ship landing or attacking the White House and Trump out there with his own special alien raid gun shooting it down. I mean, seriously, I'm not even kidding you guys. They have to create an enemy because that's how they make money. If there's an enemy, then we can go to war. And if we can go to war, then the Cheneys can make a lot of money. And now we can make even more money because you know what? We don't have weapons to fight aliens. So now we have to buy all new weapons. So I got really disheartened by that. By the end of all that, I started out being excited and then I ended up being disheartened. The Fox News will use this to scare the bejesus out of their viewers, and they'll chop up everything this guy said, and for the next 20 years, they'll use it against him. He was very naive to go on Fox News. He believes in the good of people. He thought that he was going to be doing a service, and I really think that they used him. So that's kind of an aside, but you can look up Tucker Carlson interviews alien scientist. I'm pretty sure it would pop up. So your question is, when will we have open direct ET contact? Some people would say we have it right now. There are a lot of people who are in contact with ETs. I mean, it's not that hard, to be honest with you. I could have contact with ETs. It's not that hard. Now, open contact would be like if you mean like where we admit it, where it's mainstream, maybe like, let's say the word mainstream. Mainstream contact with aliens. It's not good, y'all. It's just not good because that's why, okay, so I accepted my gifts much later in life. And one of the reasons I did that was because a lot of us actually are doing that. Now, one reason is because I would be exhausted. Had I started doing this when I was 20, now I'm 56, I'd be retired. I wouldn't be of any use. So I saved my abilities to this part of my life because they need everybody now. Let me repeat. They need all of us light workers to get off of the bench and get in the game now. Why is that? Because the veil between the worlds is thinning. Thinning and thinning and thinning. When the veil between the worlds thins, things that really didn't want to come here, or maybe it was a little too hard to come here or not worth the effort to come here, I couldn't be able to stroll right over and sit down at the dinner table with you. And they need me and you and everybody else to be the ones to say, aliens are not bad. Let me help you, because Mary or Aunt Betty or Frank or Jacob or Chance or whoever is going to be freaking the F out because they just had an experience. And they're going to need people like us to say, everything's okay. Let me help you with that. I can help you with that. Tell me what happened. Okay? We are right now, this is the time that all of us are sort of waking up, coming on board, and getting ready to help. And that also is for everything, for people seeing ghosts, for people seeing aliens, for people seeing whatever, orbs, ships. We are the ones. And you can be professional or not be professional. It doesn't matter. You can just be yourself. And maybe a family member says, I think I remember you being into this stuff, and I really need to talk to you because I saw something I can't explain and I'm about to freak out. So it doesn't matter if you're a professional psychic or a professional ET channeler or anything. None of that matters. What matters is that you're willing to be available to talk to people if they come to you and they seek you out. And you're willing to help them and keep them calm and help them understand what they experienced. Now, you may choose to become a professional psychic or medium or some sort of an ET channeler or a healer or any of those things, and that's great too. They're happy for all of us to come on board. Okay? They need us. Whenever I ask them, how many do you need? They say, all of you. They don't give me a number. It's not like 2,000 or 2 million. All of you. We need all of you. So when I look into when are we going to have open contact and mainstream contact, we're going to need a lot of us. It's not going to work unless there's more of us that get it, that aren't scared by it, that understand it, and also that can discern what's trick and what's a not trick. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know about timing. I would say something is definitely getting ready to happen, but I really feel like it's a false flag. Darn, I don't have any water. I feel like it's a false flag that's getting ready to happen, and that I've experienced this. I've been tricked personally. So it's easy. It's easy to be tricked. So there's a lot more to your question. It's just not that simple. And the whole process is not going to be that simple. We have to be better. One thing Spirit wants you to do, wants all of us to do, learn to feel in your body. So some of us aren't very good at feeling our emotions. Some of us are fantastic at it. But the way that you can be sure that you can discern who you're talking to is your spirit guide, or who you're talking to is a Palladian or whatever, is how they make you feel. They can fool your clairvoyance. They can fool your psychic seeing. They can fool you. Clairaudience? Oh yeah, they can fool you. They can talk right in your ear, and you can think that that's God, or that that's the alien that you've been talking to, or that's your spirit guide. But you don't really know that. You have no earthly idea if that is correct. You can ask them, are you of divine light? Yes or no? And they will have to answer. But you can also learn to feel it. This is what they're calling the litmus test. You can learn, how does my spirit guide feel? How do angels feel? How does this alien spirit guide that I'm working with, how do I feel when they're around? Because if you're busy doing something and you feel them, you know they're there. You don't even have to stop doing what you're doing, right? So it's a handy thing to have. Now, how do you do it? Well, you have to be willing to feel emotions. You have to start working on, how do I feel when I'm happy? How do I feel when I'm sad? Pay attention to your body. Sing a happy song. How do I feel when I'm happy? Take note when you're happy throughout the day or throughout the week. Take note when you're sad. How does it feel? Where do I feel it in my body? If you have fear, where do you feel it? Watch a scary movie. Go on something that scares you. Where does it appear in your body? Your shoulders? Do your shoulders kind of come in? What physical reaction do you have? So in this way, you're learning. You're learning about your body and your body's reaction to stimulus. Your body doesn't lie. So it's always a good idea to try to work that muscle out. See if I can find some more questions here. So Just Passing Through also has another question. When asking the universe for signs prior to making a decision, you start seeing signs. How do you know it's from the universe or just you wanting to see them? You can't make, yeah. There's that thing that says, if you think about a yellow car, all of a sudden you see yellow cars everywhere, but it's not really true. Just try it. Just try it. Go out there and say, I want to see yellow cars. Doesn't really work like that. Because if we were all that good at manifesting things, we'd all be multi-gazillionaires living wherever we wanted to live, right? So we're really not that good at manifesting the things that we think about. So that's kind of the problem with that. You have to trust that it's from the universe. You have to trust it. That it's like, think about playing a game with somebody and you throw the ball to them. Well, you're not letting go of the ball because you don't, when we don't trust the universe, we're not letting go of the ball. And when we do let go of the ball and the ball comes back, we question if that even just happened. Did that? And that's normal because we're human and we live in this physical construct, and things that don't make sense don't have any construct, don't have any context. So you know what we do? We throw it out. We just throw it out. Doesn't make any sense. That's why you should keep a journal. If you keep a journal and you write down every sign you see and the date, and you write down every time a song gets stuck in your head, but you have never heard the song in a long, long time, write that down. I got this song stuck in my head. Here's the lyrics. This is the day. If you really want to get fancy with it, every time you write down something, write down your happiness. Am I happy? Am I not happy? Am I kind of happy? Because you're tracking that throughout, say, a month. If we don't write this stuff down, we just forget about it. Like, I forgot about all the things. Before I accepted my gifts, when I finally did accept my gifts, I went and told my friends, and they were like, girlfriend, you ain't telling us nothing new. You've been doing this for 10 years. I'm like, no, I haven't. They reminded me time and time again. Remember when this happened? Remember when this happened? Oh, yeah, remember when this happened? I had forgotten about all of it. I forgot about all of it because it didn't make sense to me. There was no box to put that in my file cabinet, no folder to put it in. But to them, it was unusual and interesting, and it didn't involve them, so they remembered it all. So you're going to forget it. But if you write it all down, you're not going to forget it. And then a month later, you're going to go back and look at those pages, and you're going to be like, holy crapola. These people are talking to me. It's quite unsettling, actually, when it happens. I mean, it actually really trips you out because you realize this is a whole story. If you just do it once or twice, it doesn't make any sense. And that's why we also don't have anywhere to put it. It didn't make any sense. But if you'll keep track of everything for a month, whenever it happens, just write it down, put it in your phone. I don't care. But it's all got to be in a place where you can see it at once, where you can see the date, what happened, the date, what happened, the date, what happened, so that you can read it all at once. So you're going to write down any signs. Maybe you found a feather. Maybe you saw a shooting star. Maybe for some reason the rainbow stood out to you that day. Things that stand out to you. If you're staring at something and you don't know why, that is a sign. If you're just radar locked on something and sometimes I'm walking away and I'm still looking at it, why am I looking at that? I'm going to tell you there's a reason. Why is that song stuck in my head? I haven't heard it in 5 years. Now it's stuck in my head. There's a reason. Why is this song playing on the radio that makes me think of a time in my life? There's a reason. Why did this stranger walk up to me and say, have you ever thought about this or that? Because I see you have this in your hand. I'm like, first of all, you're looking at me like you're a stranger and you're talking to me and I'm an introvert. What the hell? But besides that, you're just like, yeah. And then doesn't make any sense, right? Same thing. A family member walks up to you and says, hey, I've been thinking you would be really good at this job. Do you know that? I mean, you're really good at this. And you're like, I am not. They're like, yes, you are. You're like, no, I'm not. That's a sign. Spirit guides use other people to give us messages. You see things on your computer, ads. Last year, I really wanted to hire a bookkeeper and I kept putting it off. And instead I saw ads for tax accountants, and it wasn't April and it wasn't March. It was like, September or something. It was stupid. And all I saw it was getting ridiculous. I was like, stop showing ads, you know what I mean? And then I realized, oh yeah, I wanted to get a bookkeeper. So they showed me tax accountant. That was as good as they could get. They couldn't find bookkeeper, but they found these tax accountant ads. They showed me those to remind me to get a bookkeeper. Sometimes it's not exactly the message, but it's meant to kind of kick in your thinking so that you think, oh yeah, I wanted to do this. Oh yeah, I wanted to do this. Sometimes in readings, I tell people, you're a natural born XYZ. And you know what people tell me? You're not the first person to tell me that. 3 other people have told me that. And they weren't even psychics. Well, why are we all telling you this when you're not doing it? You know what I mean? Spirit will bring people to you time and again to help you with signs and symbols and messages, especially when it has to do with your soul path. If it doesn't have to do with your soul path, they're not going to get involved in your life because you have free will. Now, you can ask them to get involved with your life. You can say, hey, I need help losing weight. Can I get a spirit guide to help me? Sure can. Boom. In your life, sending you messages. What does that look like? Well, maybe you're out running errands and you think, I'm going to stop and get a pizza. And then all of a sudden you think, gosh, you know what? I just bought that salad. I better eat that salad. Yeah, you know what? And I've got some chicken or some shrimp I could put on it. You forgot all about the pizza. What did they do? Put the idea in your head. You just bought salad. Salad's at home. This happens to me all the time. All the time, like at least 3-4 times a week. I'm like, yeah, I'm out and about and I don't get out much. I work from home. So when I'm in the car, I'm like, I'm going to get me some good food. No, I'm not, because by the time I drive 3 blocks, they're showing me something I have at home. And 9 times out of 10, I go home and eat it. So ask for help. They will assign what I call helper guides to you to help you. They'll send you messages. They'll, urge you to get off the couch and go for a walk. They'll urge you to get a gym membership. They'll urge you to get a trainer. They'll give you thoughts, ideas, energy, activation. But now going back to your soul's path, that would be your main spirit guide. Your main spirit guide, that purpose of that guide is to help you stay on your soul path. That would be when 3 people have already told you to do something, and then the psychic tells you to do it too. That's all soul path, because you never even thought about it. Like, I can't do that. It's like me being on YouTube, actually. I can't do that. I'm not going to do that. I mean, are you crazy? I used to walk around talking out loud to them all the time going, you are crazy. You are so crazy. You're delusional. I've got delusional spirit guides. I need a replacement, please. They don't care. They're just gonna keep you're their assignment. So they're gonna stick with you for your whole life on helping you get back to your soul path. So hopefully that makes sense. I know that I just, built the clock to tell the time, as they say. This is going to be a pretty quick video, but I will come back and do more of these. If you guys want more of these, just let me know, and I'll be happy to do. As you can tell, you ask one question and I talk for 20 minutes. Cindy Sullivan says, can I ask why I'm going to ask my guides why so many great artists suffer mental and emotional anguish while creating great art. That is such an interesting question. I was just talking about this morning, because emotion is passion. Emotion helps you create, right? I mean, you don't create from a purely analytical, very, locked in mind. That's hard to create from that. There's scientists and mathematicians, and then there's physicists. Physicists are creative. They dream big, wild things. They're not locked into any mathematical equation. They're ready to break that or change it or, throw it over on its end. So to create means that you need to be in touch with your emotions, if that makes sense. It's also why so many psychics and mediums have had to go through some kind of major breakdown in their life, maybe some big physical illness or breakdown in their life where they've had a major loss or their life has turned upside down. It breaks you open. Now you don't have these walls anymore. The walls have been broken. You're broken. So now you can create, but now you can also connect with your abilities. You don't have the blocks anymore. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Thank you for your question, Cindy. Saints says, is it possible for you to contact ancestors in our genealogical tree and ask them questions about our families? I had a 4th great-grandfather who had 15 illegitimate children between 2 women without marrying them. Is this type of information unavailable to us? No, I think I don't know what the information you want. You want to just ask them questions, then yes, you can, but you're going to get, are you looking for dirt? I mean, are you looking for like who that person was or who they married or were they royalty? I mean, what are you looking for? You can, it depends on the person. I have found people like 3rd generation back that have told me things about illegitimate relationships. Sometimes they're very hush-hush, though. They died with the secret. They want to keep the secret. If they died with the secret, usually that you got to be pretty strong to die with a secret. So you're not going to really just jump up and start telling it typically. But you can ask them questions. Absolutely. You can ask them, questions. Absolutely. I'm just going to leave it at that. I mean, I don't know what kind of questions you want to ask them, but yes, you can. Whether they answer them or not is another question. Aries Checkmate says that they're curious how soon after death one can look down and see their loved ones. I lost someone very special 2 weeks ago, and I would like to know if she's watching over us. I'm so sorry, Aries. That's terrible. I'm sorry for your loss. Okay. Um, most I don't have all the answers. I'm one medium, okay? I don't have all the answers. I haven't had, 500,000 readings. But in the readings that I've had, the majority of people are able to look down immediately. Some people die and are immediately going to family members' houses as energy, okay? I've had clients that have felt the energy of the person that died wake them up, and they didn't know they died until they woke up, and then later they connected the time of death with that exact moment that they had that experience. I was woken up one morning, and I remember saying out loud, I'm seeing an angel. It was outside of my bedroom window. It was, kind of just daylight, but bright enough. And I learned that my really, really, really close friend had just died. Yes, they can be very, very quick. Also, they can take a long time. It depends. Some people cross over and then they're met by angels and they go up immediately, or they're met by family members and they go up immediately, and then they come back down. So they often come back down. They're often at their funerals or their visitations, or they're at your house. They come back down. But sometimes right after death, they're swooped up, or sometimes right after death, they hang around immediately thereafter. Remember that time over there is very fast. So even if right after death, they're swooped up, they're going to do whatever they need to do, healing or whatever that is, and then be able to come right back down, usually within hours. Okay, so it's pretty quick. I'm sorry about your loss. I'm really, really sorry about your loss. If you're familiar with Heart and Soul Connected channel, YouTube channel, she does a thing where there's mediums that give free readings. Look up Heart and Soul Connected channel and go to her channel when the mediums are on and see if they can connect and get you a free reading. Anybody can do that. They're there to do that for you. Thank you for your question. Okay, Kelly Ortiz says, hi, Susan. Hi, Kelly. I'm wondering if the predictions of Nostradamus about the third Antichrist is now upon us. Are Nostradamus's prophecies as dire as people predict them to be? I would like to think we can change the course of his predictions to a much more benevolent outcome. We can change them. I have witnessed this. That's right. So I think in the beginning of this video, I talked about how energy, and I think I talked about the Civil War, right? Like, so energy is predicted to be one thing and it turns out to another. Our energy affects that. Our energy, our collective energy affects that. I think that collectively humans changed the war in Ukraine. I think enough people sent white light that it helped push the Russians further out. I think that collectively humans have immense power for good. So yes, absolutely, we can change these things to a more benevolent outcome. As a matter of fact, the guides are always saying, what will humans choose? They're always saying that. We're still choosing. Every day we have an opportunity to change the direction of our lives. Very few instances where I hear the words, it is written, and that means for whatever reason, it's not up for negotiation. Like I heard, it is written when the two men that were one was in a special election runoff and one was in a regular election in Georgia, Ornoff and I'm not going to get their names right. I'm connected to spirit. But anyway, those two senators won, and they told me before the election, it is written, they're going to win. Warnock, and I forget what the other one is. And Warnock is, for whatever reason, is supposed to go on and have a long career. And it is written, not changeable. So there are some things that I think Biden was supposed to be our president. I think Trump was supposed to come in and do what he did. I think these things were set up because of other things we did in the past, and we needed this. We needed these people to be in their places to cause contrast and catalyst for change. But yes, for the most part, 98% is free will. That's huge. That's a huge amount, right? Life is a mindset. Life is a mindset, Lorraine says. Oh, it's a picture. She wanted to send me a picture. It's from her parents' back patio in the countryside of Georgia. She says she thinks it was an alien visiting her mom, and she wants to know if my guides can confirm it. And yes, that is true. It was an alien visiting your mom. So in my experience, aliens just don't visit Joe Blow. You've got a family lineage of alien visitation, I promise you. I do. It came from my grandmother on my dad's side, but my psychic and mediumship abilities came from my mom's side. So typically, when you have alien experiences, it's usually family all the way down a family line for some reason. You know, maybe that's a contract. I don't know. So Melissa Knight says, keeping our vibration high keeps us happy. Abraham Hicks shared by showing an energy vibration scale that sickness and disease can't live above a certain vibration. Is this how some have steered clear of contracting COVID? Abraham Hicks is a woman that channels a entity named Abraham. If you're not familiar, she is very famous. You can find it on YouTube. And I particularly, I like her. I like Abraham and I like her. Yes, this is how, and this is going to be my last question I'm going to be able to answer. This is how a lot of people have, it goes back to that question earlier about the, people disappearing, if with your vibration, will they just disappear out of your vibration physically? If your vibration doesn't match illness, you're not going to be a match for illness. I mean, that's that. Now, remember, there's soul contracts. Sometimes we get sick because we decided that we want to experience that, or our families needed to experience that before we got here. So you can live the most healthy, amazing, vibratory life ever and still get sick. Maybe that was a soul contract. But again, soul contracts like that are not the norm. I mean, they're limited. It's a very small chance. The majority of your life, you have free will, and that takes up the majority, the bigger part of your life, of your selections. So yes, that is true. I'm going to have to end this video with that. Thank you so much. Much love to all of you. Much light to all of you. Thank you. Thank you for incarnating on earth at this time. Thank you for taking care of yourself. Thank you for taking care of your light, of keeping your flame blowing and glowing so that others can see it. Thank you for taking care of yourself. Okay? We'll talk soon.